What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
It's conceivable that Emperor Rudra's wishes were fulfilled by the Imperial Army's defeat.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that unthinkable?
It was promptly refuted by Misha and Laplace, but Yuki amusedly questioned their claims.
What was Damrada trying to accomplish when he came up with this possibility?
It's really that easy. A key component of the Grand Rite is mass death. Didn't Damrada and the Emperor sacrifice the Imperial Army itself, much as awakening a demon lord takes a large number of souls?
It's conceivable. Go on.
If that's the case, it makes sense why he would try to stop Lieutenant Kondu from winning. At the same time, it's also not really clear what he meant when he missed us.
Gadra was on his way to the Emperor to warn him. Damrada intervened at this point. If Kondu had received the information from Gadra, the Imperial Army would not have suffered as much harm. Rimaru's movements would have been different even before that. Damrada, a man of his height, could not have been ignorant of this, and his acts must have been deliberate. What was the goal in that case?
Maybe a touchstone?
I guess so, yes.
Yuki's response caused Kigali to grin.
Many sacrifices are accepted to produce a true strongman, and they planned on using us as tools to forge the powerful, right?
Or maybe they intended to let us in. Other than me and Kigali, Clayman was not the type of man to follow commands.
Yes, it is correct.
I am certain about it.
It appears to me that they must have employed some sort of ruse if they allowed Clayman get out of control like that.
I suppose so. As an illustration, brainwashing?
Yuki agreed with Kigali's statement.
Even if it wasn't a particularly strong thought inducer, I believe it's possible that he was. They might have utilized similar goods to what we did, or they might possess a hidden skill similar to Maribel's, a domination-type skill.
When they heard the reasons, they all had serious looks on their faces.
That's not good.
Everyone agreed with Misha's statement. After giving the group a quick glance, Yuki spoke while grinning.
But don't be alarmed. Against me, such type of strength is useless. I'm going to run a quick check on every one of you immediately, okay?
They all readily concurred. Here, to dispute it would be to admit to manipulation. Everyone accepted Yuki's offer to establish their innocence.
It seems that nobody has been brainwashed. Well, I would have believed it would be okay if no one behaved alone, because we would have realized instantly if something was amiss with their behavior.
I was in danger, if that makes sense.
Laplace said after standing up and turning around. Yuki and Kigali, on the other hand, vehemently disputed it.
You'll be all right, I assure you.
That's correct. The only person who needn't be concerned about that is you.
Laplace sulkily walked back to his seat after hearing this and started whining.
What the heck? You should worry more about me.
The heavy air in the room was blown away by what Laplace did. Everyone's thoughts changed as laughter resonated. Yuki was glad to hear this, and he opened his mouth as if he wanted to change situation.
Let's put Damrada's thoughts to the side for the time being. What should we do next is the question.
I agree, yes. I'd like to inquire of Damrada how much of what we're up to has been leaked.
Hey, he is aware of our plans, doesn't he?
I informed Damrada of my plans in full. It's not a matter of being discovered.
Then, shouldn't we leave this place as quickly as we can?
But, I can't really say that.
Presently, the Empire served as the base of operations for Yuki's faction. There were a few places to hide in the Western nations, but there weren't many. They struggled to find a new hiding location and were unable to take cover there. Above all, there wasn't enough time or planning to allow everyone on the bottom to flee.
It's difficult for me to manage Cerberus alone, at the very least. I didn't even know who Damrada's subordinates were, but I had to rely largely on his processing capability.
Vega, the other boss, was a violent individual who lacked any other significant skills. He couldn't be counted on to handle the organization very well. On this reality, Misha had built her statement.
I know. The head of Cerberus is going to fall off. All of Damrada's men are gone, but the mixed core is still a concern. I don't want to abandon this force, or more specifically, I don't want to lose every base I have.
Although you could have reduced your losses, they were too great in this instance. There was nowhere in the world that would take 100,000 men. They would have to abandon their soldiers, but if they did, those that remained would undoubtedly be exterminated. Damrada initially didn't seem to want to reveal Yuki's group's secrets.
There are a number of reasons why Damrada would have prevented Gadra from speaking. One of them is to prevent Kondu from learning details about us. The near guard of Emperor Rudra might not be impenetrable. Damrada would want us to be successful in carrying out our plan to stage a coup in the capital, don't you think?
I'm not sure of Damrada's motivation, but hiding us would be his only option if that were his aim.
As though anticipating one another's ideas, Yuki and Kigali conversed their opinions. The other members of the group puzzledly regarded them. Then Laplace interrupted them, possibly unable to contain himself any longer.
No, hold on a second. You are aware that he intentionally let Gadra leave, but it was only an assumption, right? If that is the case, it is most likely just a misunderstanding, since Kondu and Damrada are close friends, isn't that right?
Everyone agreed and shook their heads, but Yuki confidently responded.
I don't think so.
Okay, listen to me. Our agreement with Demon Lord Gi led to our takeover as well. Damrada is aware of it. I assume he reasoned that it was preferable to cause commotion in the capital in order to deceive Gi's eyes than to disrupt our plan.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
I don't get it.
Already, Tyr and Footman were having problems keeping up with the discourse. With a cue ball, they had already begun to play.
How was such anarchy permitted in the capital by the Emperor's inner circle?
Misha was trying to come up with her own ideas but couldn't understand Yuki and Kigali's viewpoints. This was, in a sense, just a typical response. After all, Yuki and his associates' mentality was reserved solely for people who possessed perfect reason and were prepared to suffer anything to achieve their objective. Furthermore, because it pushed Yuki's self-interest to the absolute limit and appeared to be riddled with contradictions from other people's perspectives, it was a craziness that even Misha could not comprehend. Asking someone to grasp it was ludicrous.
It's not that difficult, Misha. The viewpoint of Damrada's potential adversaries is what matters. Instead of Yuki-sama or Demon Lord Rimuru, Damrada views Demon Lord Gi Crimson as his constant foe. Once you reach that realization, you'll be able to see why they allow us to roam free in the capital.
Kondu is unique. In addition to Gi, he is hostile to everyone who wants to exact revenge on the Emperor. He provides service to Emperor Rudra from an entirely different perspective than Damrada.
This, in Yuki's opinion, is the cause of the disagreements. Kigali concurred, as well.
Okay, well, I'll just take the boss and Kigali-sama's word for it.
Laplace's assurances lacked enthusiasm. Tyr and Footman agreed by nodding. Then Misha raised a crucial query.
Then, Yuki-sama, what are your future plans? No matter what Damrada's actual intentions may be, if he turns out to be an enemy, we cannot trust him. So, should we call off the coup and make a hasty exit instead? Fortunately, the blockade of the east city of the Dwarven Kingdom is currently being carried out by 60% of the mixed core. The provincial cities will be no issue for me to take down if I can offer as much support as I can, together with the forces still in the capital. If we take that as a base, then
can the resentful, annexed nations of the Empire rise up and create a powerful anti-imperial coalition?
Yes, indeed. That would be the wisest course of action to protect our forces and increase our chances of winning the war, wouldn't it?
Very good. If you look closely enough, you can find many areas that the imperial elite has oppressed. Instead of calling ourselves the Rebel Army in such places, we may name ourselves the Liberation Army.
So, what then?
Sadly, the proposal was turned down.
Misha attempted to ask why, but she was unsuccessful.
A coup is the only way for us to live. That's correct, Damrada, right?
Before Misha could respond, Yuki said as much. The room was filled with clowns who were ready to fight before Misha could comprehend what Yuki was saying. The door suddenly opened, allowing a man to enter.
Excellent response, boss.
Damrada was the man. As usual, he was dressed in business attire, but he carried himself like a soldier, as if he had no desire to conceal himself. The atmosphere in the space grew strained. Laplace was about to make an abrupt move when Damrada said softly,
You must not do it. My men have already surrounded this building.
Yuki, who was watching the scene, let his shoulders drop and sat down on the couch.
Are you free to talk? If so, why not take a seat?
But boss, there isn't any more time.
It's okay. Also you. Just remain seated.
Yuki smiled sardonically at Damrada and motioned for a displeased Laplace to join him in his seat.
What exactly do you want, then?
I believe the boss could have misinterpreted me. I'm here to convey that I have my own motivations.
Damrada gave this response and sat down where he was directed. He looked so resolute, Laplace and the others couldn't help but chuckle. Yuki and Damrada leave the rest behind to begin their question and answer session.
The situation is difficult, huh?
That's accurate. I'm thinking that I truly want you to be successful in the coup.
So you released Gadra as well?
Looks like he's still safe. Given how cautious he was, I gambled on that one but believed he would make it.
It was intended to prevent Kondu from learning the information, correct?
Precisely.
I thought you were devoted to the Emperor?
Yes, I took an oath.
So, you've got, and now?
My loyalty is to the boss, despite the fact that I've told you this many times, and you might not believe me.
But how can I believe you?
Obviously not.
They both chuckled and engaged in tongue-twisting combat.
Gadra's information has annihilated the Armored Corps. In addition, the Magic Beast Corps has already left the city. Even if the Armored Corps status is reported, it will take some time for them to return. The number of troops guarding the capital is currently significantly diminished. The moment has come, don't you agree?
I believe so. We have it so easy that it almost feels like a setup for us.
That's true. We've been building this up for years.
So Damrada, you're...
Yes, boss, I am. My goal is to overthrow His Majesty Rudra. There is no other way to save him. The wisest course of action is for you to take the kingdom. I've made the arrangements and haven't altered my mind. You must make the final decision.
Unconcerned, Yuki gave a disinterested sniff. Damrada was genuinely dissatisfied with the way things were turning out. But turning him down wasn't an option either. Damrada was correct, and everything was ideal at the time. The sole issue was whether or not he should believe Damrada.
Let me ask you a question.
Anything.
Why did you get rid of Clayman without asking me first?
The moderate clown troupe and Yuki had pledged an oath to never betray one another. They were among the few individuals in this planet who were trustworthy. One of them, Clayman, had also been a close friend of Yuki. When they heard Yuki's query, Kigali, Laplace, Tyr, and Footman all adopted a different attitude. They fixed Damrada in their gaze and looked at him as if they would not stand for any deceit.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Sanketh Chelu, Jared Bressler, Chad Vota, I Like Anime, Ray Perez, Chris Guzman, Havox, Speed Saber, James Waters, Arijit Das, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Justa Guy, Jason Martin, Misael W. Hernandez, Benjamin Villar, Zach Rossan, Byron, Donald Williams, Moab A, Day of Light, John M, John Charles, Godman Gaming, Akon Engok, Markithian Tidwell, Andre L. Hamilton, Adrian, Kumo, T-Bush, John L, Tojam, Edgar Fuentes, JV, Dirty Old Hobo, Gonse Direco, Thomas, Edmund, Jay, Christ, Juan Ignacio, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Vethelny, Lunel Scarlett, Khaled, Christian Deshazer, Cal Robs, Divine C. Harris, Destiny Smith, Panda Cats, Aaron Alarcon, DeAndre Nance, Monty Boy 98, D-Man, Wise Viking, Ruben, Luis Caro, Yuki Iki, Pedro Robles, Kamal Ebanks, Chris Duncan Jr., Isaac, Shadow Wolf 660, Koala King 93, Devon, Paul DeGrassi, 2345254, Little 95, Coyote de Peza, Quilly Buckner, This Is Not My Username, Mizzle Bizzle, Zephyras, Alver, Normal Defate, Joshua Andrade, Jaya Keshav, L, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, Alex Gomez, J. Rule, Sayonori, Alfredo Interior, Lil Tier, Liron Sankap, Eric Tass, Christopher Mash, Edward Garcia, Rory M. Brassel, Sri Nanduri, Foolish Prophets, Ethan Madison, Louis Strutter, Charles Bailey, Funky Junkie 22, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Nick H, Andre Hamilton, Jason Torres, Sesh, Sergio Aguilar, Martin Ramos, Simon Road, Emperor WSA, George Hage, Stabby Cakes, Pratik Bandari, Von Joseph, Deriha Skerte, Jackson Early, Isauna Daka, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadel, Tank Bailey, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Kim Man, Home Like Drop, Fazli Topadar. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.